watch it like shrinks. So I'm doing better today than I was a few days ago, obviously, because I look better. And I can only look better if I am doing better, because I experienced something going better for myself. Like, oh, I can actually wear this hairstyle now. My hair has grown out enough. So even though there's matted portions here, I can wear like the bandana look. And I just saw that my hair is like actually kind of like has length. So that's cool. The sun has come out, and ironically, it's so bright now. Just like in the past like 10 seconds it came out that I can't quite see like the the screen as well. So I'm making a video because I made a plan for the day, and I was like, wait a second, I'm gonna want to like record something before doing these like chores, and so this is that. But I'm not like inspired to say anything because usually when I start recording, I feel like saying something. Um, but right now I'm just kind of like doing this in like a scheduled way because I don't have a window of time before like night happens when I can like talk. So I'm a little bit like, what do I talk about? The monoculture, that's what I talk about. The monoculture is on in my mind, is over, it's like, it's, it has a grip on my mind, I would say to about 40%, which is a lot, but less than I expected. I always think it's going to be like 80%. I feel like it's 40% right now. 40% of my mental function is currently under the choking grasp of the monoculture of the world that says basically that people are alive, and through their effort and action, which is the same thing as effort, through their focusing and ability to understand where their opportunities are and the ability to have the bravery to pursue those opportunities. Anyone in the world is able to through that improve their lives and achieve their goals, and have enough money and um, get into good relationships, friendships, and romantic relationships, um, have families, as in children, and homes that they can purchase, and traveling of the world that they can do, and education they can receive to level up their abilities as a consciousness, as an intelligence in the world, so that they are more valuable to other consciousnesses, humans, therefore receiving a greater and there's a blanking for like the word money, but like reward, like receiving a greater like amount of power to to do things in the world. To yeah, that's what it is. Money is power to do things in the world. More access to the world to do what they want to do with their consciousness, their focus, their attention, their will, their identity. That's what it is, and that's the monoculture. Oh, and people are comfortable. Most the monoculture message is this. This is what's happening currently. So yeah, everyone. What's normal is people go out into the world and they interact with other consciousnesses, human beings, and they're comfortable and normal, and no one's really upset about anything unless there's an actual like incident that is able to be seen by everybody, like witnessed by the physical eye as something weird and problematic, like somebody snatching a purse or something like that. Otherwise, people just walk through the space of whatever city or town or village or whatever that they live in, and everyone's just building their lives according to what I just described, and nothing bad is happening. like at all, except for like these obviously visible things like somebody snatching an object from someone else. And then people relax using different, not using, but like people relax doing different things that they find relaxing, like playing football or watching TV or going for walks with their loved ones and their pets, uh, going on hikes, you know. And then certain times of the year, certain days roll around that are these like major days of focusing on specific good events that everybody can share in. And that's basically it. That's life, human life on planet Earth. Like that's all that's happening. And if you perceive anything else happening outside of that, you're a problem. And the problem is the fact you're a problem because you have a problem in your perception, because you're perceiving things that aren't actually happening, and you're making things up, and you're irrational, and you're reacting to things that actually aren't there, and you're making excuses for why you aren't able to achieve your life. You're being lazy. You're trying to blame your inability to make effort, to be focused, to force yourself to action and effort versus just hanging out and letting it all hang out. You're blaming your inability to focus and make effort and take action and be brave. You're blaming your inability to do that on things that aren't really there. And so racism isn't really there. And white supremacy thinking is not really there. And religious people having kind of like above natural, mental, spiritual things that happen as a result of their religiosity isn't really there. Things like warlocks and witches and like people's intentions that they can focus on you to harm you or to exploit you or to rob you of what's rightfully yours, that's definitely not there. Black people or like African featured people, so like melanated skin, darker skin, curly hair, especially tightly coiled hair, dark eyes, as in once again melanin, even like I think like the African nose, like a lot of the time it's more bulbous and rounded, and I think there's like a geometry to that that is significant. Like there's a way that it interacts with the world of like physics, like frequencies and vibrations, and like just genuinely like a round object moving through space has a different property and like thing that it's going to be experiencing than like a pointed object moving through space. Like big African features, like having some kind of other experience or having a slightly different nature that is significant enough to be noted as something that should be considered, is not real. All humans are the same. Like it's just a function of climate and evolution, but it doesn't mean anything. There's no significance. There's no consequence. There are no properties like to these differences that make different human bodies slightly different, therefore having slightly different experiences. That's not true. Monoculture would definitely reject that. You feel me? And then if you think about the idea of a spiral in physics having potential energy that a flat line doesn't have, you're like, isn't that why they hate us though as black people? Because black people know this. They say this. They're like, they're jealous of us. I heard a black person in America say this once, and I was like completely in my Oreo state of mind back then, because I was a victim of white supremacy that is rampant all over the world. And white supremacy is so rampant because nobody actually is aware of it, because the monoculture says it's not happening, because the monoculture is the shield of all the people who cheated at life and stole things from other cultures and other people and other civilizations, destroyed them, killed them, murdered them, wiped them off the face of the planet, called what was theirs theirs, and then got rich because of it, and got rich in the sense that, like, yes, money, but got rich in the sense that, like, they became the primary beneficiary of life. And that's what's described as the term white people. They're just Europeans. It happened. It's just history. Like, that's the story of what happened. But the monoculture is there to protect them, because if people were aware of the story of, like, human groups and, like, why is this one group of humans in an unfair, like, way better off, if everybody in the world who is now, like, interconnected, specifically in the past, like, few decades because of the internet, if everyone in the world was aware of, like, just the story of human groups on the different continents of the planet, and, like, who are, like, the robbers and the thieves and the murderers and the, like, mental fucking, like, gaslighters, the fucking mental manipulators of the world, I'm like, it's the Europeans. It's not like a what's it called, like, it's zero emotional, like, it's not from a place of emotion. It's just like math. I'm like, who's the group that's, like, who robbed and stole and lied? I'm like, the European group. Why are they so, like, so much better off? I'm like, because they robbed and stole and lied and murdered. They just cheated at life. They just came in and took what they wanted, and they lied to everyone about it, including themselves. It's just the math. I'm like, that's what happened. And so I'm saying, like, if the different human groups of the world actually, like, understood just, like, the simple mathematical story of, like, why everything is how it is currently, they would get really angry. Because they would be like, you guys cheated. I don't have to try to be blonde and white and blue-eyed. You motherfuckers, that's the look of the goddamn liar, murderer, goddamn fucking stealer of my fucking existence. I don't want to look like you, bitch. You see what I'm saying? Do you see that obvious, like, logical, like, if this then that, if this then that? If I understand the European group represents the ones that are the cheaters at life, the monoculture making me feel like they're, like, subconsciously I understand they have the power and they're the ones who are ruling the world. So subconsciously, because I understand that I have no power and I'm not ruling the world, and subconsciously because they did actually, like, perform a psychological violence over me, I am in the psychology of a victim, of like a victim. Like a victim truly feels like they want to kind of, like, they would prefer to be like the one who victimized them. It's a trauma bond. It's a possible shade of a Stockholm syndrome. There's, like, a vibe of, like admiring the one who is, like, the, you know, because you're a victim and you don't understand that, like, your feelings of, like, wow, like, you know, like, do you know what I mean? Like, when you think, like, like, if I were to straighten my hair, I would feel prettier. I could show it to you on video. You would see me feeling prettier. I can understand all this, but I also know, like, if I were to straighten my hair and make it lighter, I would feel prettier. Me, right now. I'm telling you. It's not because I am trying to be in a victim state, but that's just, like, the way it works. And so it's really weird, like, being like, I understand these things, but I'm still, like the victim to, like, the violence. So the psychology in my actual, like, mind is still that. And so it's, like, strange. Like, I'm, like, on the way to power, but I'm still a victim. And so although I can observe my victim psychology, which isn't me, you know, how they say, like, you're not your mind and all the content of it and, like, the persona that you are the observer of that. Like, if you, like, do, like, Buddhism or, like, any kind of, like, if you've ever like, studied, like, meditation type stuff, they, like, say that idea to you, and it's, like, very shocking when you first hear about it. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, my observer self, like, my soul, or, like, my consciousness that is beyond, like, the mind container of, like, I guess my mind container, which is the consciousness, being inside of this life and this persona, can observe my persona that was created by all the conditions of, like, when I was born into the world and through whom I was born into this world of human life. And it's like, oh, I see. And yet, like, I would also see, as the observer self, if I were to straighten my hair and blonde it out in pieces, I would feel prettier. Because that's the monoculture. Like, that's the program. And I can understand it and I can be upset about it, but it won't change the fact that I would feel more power in my body. But you know why? Because the European group is actually in power. I would feel like the actual reality of the fact that the power sits with them, and if my hair is straight, I'm more like them, therefore I would feel power rushing through my body. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? And so it's a lot of, man, like the work of having to be like the victimized group and like having to like recover is so fucking hard, bitch. Like it's just so fucking difficult. My God, it's just so hard. I'm like, man, like this is just gonna keep going and going for decades. I'm just gonna be struggling to recover for decades, bitch. That's how badly the Europeans motherfucking screwed us all over, fuckers. And so anyway, but I think it is a win to at least consciously be like, I don't want to look like you, you know? When you get like the realization, it's like that's the look of the thief, you know? Oh, because I thought of doing this thing where I was like, you know, I should like make. I had this thought yesterday. Let me bring out the whole idea of the monoculture. 40% of my mind is monoculture right now. Okay. And so I think what I'm trying to do is like allow myself my own mind and its experience instead of being choked out by the monoculture. Because I think if I'm going to like succeed in my life as a member of the group that is the victims. Oh, and of course the monoculture does not allow the victims to like to identify that they are the victims of what's the word? The monoculture does not allow the identification of the relationships and like who's what, where, you know what I'm saying? Because the monoculture needs everyone in the world to think of themselves as just human, and everything is up to the individual human being, and nothing else is happening. History doesn't have any repercussions on the individual. Everything is up to your own personal, like, because I don't want to reference white culture, because that would be like something like making a joke out of me right now. I'm not going to use that word, although that is a good word, technically speaking. You're observing me making a choice, but you don't know what word I'm talking about because I'm not going to use it. You're observing me making a choice based on understanding the idea that when I speak, the way that I speak, the words that I choose, the shades that go with those words all also represent something. And that's how bad the monoculture is. That's how bad the violent mind that has enabled the European group to do what they did is. That's how bad it is. That's how that's how bad it is. It's always trying to, even as you're, especially when you're working to achieve clarity as a member of the victim group, it will try to insert like the fact that it victimized you and made you into a lapdog in the way that you speak about your own freedom. It's kind of screwed up, like truly, it's so bad. And that's why I'm really glad. Like I watched The Matrix yesterday, the second one, because The Matrix really shows like the idea of like it's so like, you know, when like in The Matrix the green like characters are flowing through the body, you know, like when they like show like the vision of like the like technical like computer vision, not like the three-dimensional physical vision, but like you would see all of this as like code. Yeah, I love that in The Matrix. It gives a lot of rest, or like it allows me to like exhale and be like, exactly, bitch, that's how bad it is. Like that's how detailed, subtle, and constant it is. It's all the time. There's never a break. There's never like we went to this Juneteenth event and then it was just normal life. It's like, no, there's no such thing as normal life. The monoculture is always on. And the monoculture is the communist term coined by an Italian communist thinker that I use because I'm trying to like talk about things in a way that makes sense to me, that the Matrix represents when it like presents this concept of the world being a matrix. You feel me? What is the matrix? You know? And so the monoculture is like the program that the matrix runs to make everybody feel that the world is just one thing. But I also feel like, you know, because the world is like the matrix is like a thing that came from outside to like enslave the earth. So I gotta be careful. I'm like, the earth is not the matrix. The matrix is something that took over the earth because of some like aliens or something that like found this planet and like, you know, took over it and they're evil. Or it's the like demiurge Gnostic concept of like the earth itself is the matrix because the demiurge can't do anything but something that isn't really healthy. But then like the nature of like souls, everyone who's good, we don't come from the matrix. We come from some place where it's like healthy. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, it's one of those two. That's the best that I have so far for understanding like the origins of evil and like how what is happening, you know? And so it's like, yes, white people, it's like, but they're not like the origin of it. There's like an evil mind that worked through them that possibly created them. Yesterday I came across a video, or rather the internet, because I've been speaking my actual thoughts. It actually was able to deliver to me that which matches that. So like I'm benefited, which is awesome. I came across this like podcast, I guess, and there's a black man talking to another black man, and I was like, I just need to be with black people apparently, because I'm like, this is what I meant, and I'm like, I'm not trying to. I don't even say that fucking phrase. Don't even say that thought. I'm like, black people, they I'm like, oh, they get it. Like because I got this thought, and I was like, who the fuck is gonna understand what I'm saying? And it's like apparently black people, because they were talking about it, and I was like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who's ever thought of this. You know, but he was like, yeah, I think white people were like genetically engineered by aliens who found the planet Earth and were like, we see these natural Africans from the Earth existing. We like what's happening here with the resources and everything, but we don't like these African beings. We're just gonna like, or maybe like we can't really live here because we can't handle the sun or we can't handle something. And then they just kind of like lured certain human, like natural human people like away from their natural like habitats, and then they like lured them to like the northern lands or something, and then like, you know, abducted them, genetically modified them, and then white people were born, and they started getting super violent because they're just representing the energy of the alien invaders who found this planet and made them in the first place. It's not really white people, it's just whatever alien evil like is working through their minds. Because the way that they, you know how they talk about like technocratic something. I once heard of somebody was talking about the idea of like there are alien, like other world, there are alien races who went down the path of like technocratic development, and they became soulless and harsh and horrible, you know? And I'm like, I think one of those alien races like found this planet and was like, how do I like create like a hybrid race out of myself, like, because I can't just be these people, and that's what white people are. Like that makes so much sense. Because then it's like, why are they? Because if you ever, I read once this book, Hitler's Scientists, and there was a discussion about all the different like people of the planet that they could catalog, and they were talking about them like they were machine parts. And it was just so weird to me. I'm like, why is a human being able to think like this, like a machine? You don't talk about humans aren't machines, but you're able to think of them like they're machines. You're not human. Like, what are you? And you know, like Hitler and his fucking bastards were like the worst people that ever were in the past century that I'm aware of. I don't fucking know. Do you know what I mean? And so it just feels like there's a kind of mind that, like, for humankind, they describe it as evil, like evil consciousness, that is like I don't know, Machiavellian. Like there's no like, just sees people as like resources, and people aren't objects. It completely objectifies humans. But then also like, I wonder about like, what about the evil part? Because it's like evil as in like soulless, like seeing life as objects and not as life, right? But then there's the other kind of evil where it's like sadism, and it like gets off on the pain of like life. And it's like, what are these two types of evil, and where do they come from? What's wrong somewhere in existence that this showed up? Like, what is this? I mean, it's parasitic, obviously, but it's also like what is it? Like, if I could find the fucking answer to that, like if I could just, like why? Like, what is it? Oh, and once again, just to reinforce something I said yesterday, I'm like, anyone who's like, evil is just a balancing force to good, I'm like, that's bullshit. It's not true. You are crazy. You're with the Machiavellian, like, fuckers who doesn't seem to feel. It's like that you don't seem to have a living, like, access to the pulse of love or, like, life. You don't seem to understand. You must have never been a child. But that's not true, because the guy yesterday, he was a child who was severely abused, and whatever the fuck happened to him made him forget what that was like. It's like that shouldn't have happened to you, but he was white. Like maybe he's not able to understand love in a certain way, and he's able to allow himself to be mistreated without remembering that like that's not normal, because he's modified by these like aliens from the get-go of his existence, in case that's true. So to him it's like kind of like acceptable, or doesn't seem as weird as to me. The idea that like a loving God or loving consciousness would allow that to happen to him for his soul evolution. It's like, I'm like, who in the fuck lied to you? Like somebody spliced some shit into your being that makes you not understand like how crazy that is. Like you've never been loved or something. Do you not know what love is? Love cannot do that. Love would never 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 do that. Anybody who suggests that love is okay with you suffering or being eaten or like anything like that, I'm like, I just get chills through my like inner being, like nerve endings, because I'm just like, what's wrong with you guys that you don't hear how that's crazy? And so one of the things that I've discovered that helps with managing the monoculture chokehold of waking up is speaking the true thoughts that I'm having about what doesn't make any sense to me. It really like reinforces me, because the monoculture does this thing where like it erases your awareness of everything that you realized the day before through sleep. And today I woke up, and because I made my videos yesterday like of like saying thoughts about things that I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me, I woke up today and I was like still in like my right mind. I was like, I remember that. That's still the world. You didn't monoculture erase my mind. You didn't give me monoculture amnesia to wake up and have the monoculture program and all the things that it's saying restated as like the thing in my head, in the background of my mind. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that as much as this morning as I normally do. That's awesome. So expressing your thoughts about things that don't make sense to you personally, and therefore holding on to your mind, is a powerful way to manage the monoculture chokehold so that you have more power day to day, is what I have to conclude. Right. And so now I have to stop talking because I actually have a plan, and I'm 8 minutes beyond like the time when I was supposed to stop making this video. And I guess this is the last thing I'll say. The other thing that is helpful is finding a way to. So the monoculture says like it's because you fail to make the effort or to focus or to take the action to build, to put together the building blocks of the life that you would like to live. That's what the monoculture says. But actually the monoculture is responsible for depressing your ability to focus. The monoculture is responsible for depressing your ability to be clear. The monoculture is responsible for distracting and confusing your like inner mental ability to focus and understand and see clearly. So even though it's blaming you, it's the reason for why you have the experience of slothfulness or confusion, like not being able to just grasp like clarity on anything. You know, it's like interference with your mental clarity. So it's always on. So like, you know, people talk about like, oh, it's a prison planet. It's like, if we go with that for a second, it's like, right, the prison planet is constantly beaming out a signal of interference to your individual like discrete mental uh, consciousness realm of you, to make sure that you can't focus, to make sure that you can't feel brave, because it beams fear and doubt at you, to make sure that you can't understand, because it beams confusion at you and lack of being able to follow a chain of thought through distraction. It beams all that at you. And so a powerful way to actually manage the chokehold of the monoculture, I've found, is to have a time mapping tool. So like, I use this app, and I don't know if it's good for me or not, because it's made by someone named Mateo, and I'm like, Spanish people hunted black people. This might just be some fucking, what did I hear in the Matrix yesterday? It was all another system of control. So I'm not sure if it's actually good for me, because I might just be giving them data about like how I spend my time. But it works for me as like a tool, because I can't like grasp my time otherwise, because I'm always being like bombarded with like defocusing, you know, like I can't like focus in my brain like with time. It's very difficult for me. And so it really helps to like actually like plot out the time spaces of your day, because it makes you see like, oh, like I have to get to this and get to that and get to this, and it kills that feeling of floating in like an infinite time moment, because that's not how human life works. Human life is actually linear, in the sense that like you exist as a human being in your physical body, which is not like an infinite moment. There may be a time when like people figure something out to become all quantum and whatever, but like so far the human being functions linearly as far as like the physical part of the existence of humanity. And so I had this realization once, like my favorite thing in the world to do is just thinking. Like my favorite thing in the world is just to sit down and just start thinking about something and just like think it out like myself, like original thought, and like mulling it over and then like getting somewhere. It's so much fun. It's my favorite thing in the world. And one time I was doing that and I realized like, oh, the way people relate to time usually, it's as if it's a ray. Like in geometry, there's the term ray, and it means like a point with a line and an arrow, and it's a ray. It goes infinitely in one direction. People relate to time like it's that, but it's not that. It's actually a rectangle. Human life is a rectangle. You are born, and then you die, because a human being means like physical body. You are born as a physical body, you die as a physical body, and then your life container is like this. So your time as a human being is better modeled as a rectangle and not as a ray. Your consciousness may have ray consciousness. You're just like infinite, great. But like as a human being, you have a beginning and an end as this lifetime, and then you have like a limit to how you can function, because you have to sleep. So it's a rectangle. You know how like some of us like to just be up forever because we're just not trying to sleep, because our consciousness is like, I don't want to sleep. Like I want to just keep doing what I'm doing with my thinking or my understanding or my learning. And it's like, why is it like so annoying? It's like, because our consciousness is that like ray consciousness. It's like, right, but I'm a human being. In order to win at human being life, I have to respect the fact that as a human being, I'm physical, and my physical body needs to sleep because that's the fucking nature of it. So I can't just be up all hours of the night, losing my goddamn fucking sense of time, living from that ray perspective. It's like, it's not actually the most efficient way to live. If you like understand like your life as your time for you as a human being is a rectangle, then you can stop being mad at the sleep. And you can actually like, and then you have a time mapping tool, like this app that I use. It's called Blockos, Blocos. You can actually like see like the time spaces of all the hours, and you'll be like, oh, So accepting the reality of my human body nature and the fact that I have to sleep, and that fact that like if I sleep for about 8 hours, if I give myself an 8 hour block of time for sleep, I'll function better day to day over time. Investing in my success over time, I will accept the fact that I need 8 hours for sleep and not romanticize the idea of just staying up and sleeping for 3 hours, because that's not fucking smart, because over time I'm not as capable. Accepting that because I actually want to be successful, what, like, then you can be like, okay, sleep happens around this time, like let's say at midnight you're gonna go to bed, or at 11 p.m. you're gonna go to bed, and then you'll see like with your time mapping tool, like, oh shit, and then you're like, I have to eat, and then you like literally see like, damn, I have to cook food for this at this hour, about I have to like spend this much time cooking. I'm gonna eat for like an hour because I'm also relaxing, like I'm trying not to do anything, you feel me? Like, oh shit, and then it's like, well, if I'm gonna like be on top of my shit day to day and actually like slide into the rhythms of life, I'm gonna have to like take off my makeup, I'm gonna have to change my clothes. Those things actually take time. It seems like it happens instantly. It's like, no, they like these body motions are like slices of, they're like picture frames, and each picture frame takes up a little bit of space, and each one of those picture frames and the space that it takes up is actually what's called time. You know how they say time space is the same fucking thing? That's what it means. That's what it means. That's what it means. Time isn't actually time. Time is just space. Like, time is a physical thing. Like, time is about physicality, bitch. Time is about the picture frame. The picture frame may be like thin, but it's still taking up some space. And that's what is not understood by all of us who have the consciousness of like ray thinking or like infinite thinking. It's like, you're currently a human being. Every action that you have to take takes up a little bit of space. You're not managing time, you're managing space. Like, if you can understand, and this is a moment of maybe Bashar, the fucking like alien, channeling through Daryl Anka, trying to get a bit of like redemption, being like, you learned this from me. I'm like, I hear you, but you're still a hybrid, trying to fucking splice yourself into humanity, thinking that it's all right for aliens to abduct humans, to perform experiments on them like they're goddamn fucking lab rats in a goddamn fucking scientific lab. And I'm not okay with you. I'm not okay with you. However, it is true that I learned this idea from listening to your shit, so I'll say that. It's honest. But it doesn't mean that I approve of whatever the fuck you guys are. I don't trust you. I don't have like open arms to you. Because you may be dangerous for me. I am not a lab rat, and I don't want to be treated that way. Okay. The idea, though, that I just mentioned from like listening to all the Daryl Anka crap was like, that in every second you're a new person. And it's like strange to think about, but they're just saying like in every single moment you're like a new rendering, I guess, to mention that one guy. There's like a scientist, he's a physicist, and he has a bunch of videos out, and he has like, I think an Italian accent, I don't fucking know. I forget his name. He's been on a bunch of podcasts, and he keeps being like, it's rendered, physical reality isn't real, it's rendered, you know? Like, the brain isn't there until it's rendered because someone opens the skull. And I was like, bitch, like, this is some trippy ass shit. I don't know if this is for real or if this fucker is telling me incorrect information. I don't fucking know, you know. But he's like a true scientist. Like, he's like a true physicist. He has all these goddamn fucking like years being a real professional scientist. So I don't know. But the point is the idea of rendering, and it's like each time, like, you know, if I were to take off an earring, you know, like they're saying, like, let's say like we just think by the second, because I can't think of nanoseconds, but like, you know, like one, like 1, 2, 3, but like it's faster, right? So it is like nanoseconds. I'm just trying to say like this motion to go like this and take it off to go to sleep. This motion is not about time. It's about the fact that like if you think in terms of like pictures, and then like you go like and you see like a movie, like this is a movie, but each one of those like slides of me going like this is what makes the motion. And so then it's like all of those slides of me just raising my arm to take off an earring, that takes up space. You feel me? So what you're trying to manage, because if you're like me and your consciousness has like my kind of consciousness, you don't think of things as space. Like space makes no sense. It's, I just don't understand. Like, things are instant. Like, I just do it. And it's like, nope, sorry, not in 3D. You have to like, it's like space. You have to always respect the fact that it's like physical space, or like physicality, or like solidity or something. I don't know how to explain it. Do you know what I mean? Like like object, like there's like volume to stuff. It's weird. You know, and so we're trying to manage is awareness of like space, awareness of like bulk, awareness of like if I'm going to take my like change into pajamas at the end of the day to go to sleep, to me it feels like it takes 2 minutes, because it's like, well, it's a very fast action. It's like I estimate 2 minutes, like, but it takes like 5 or 7, and it's like, why? It's like because all of these body movements are like picture frames, and there's actually a bunch of them, and there's bulk there. So to you, it's like you're thinking like a consciousness without a body. You're like, it takes no time. It's like, right, but not in physical form. In physical form, the quickness of your arms, the focus of your mind, like to do that is like bulky, and that's what time is. It's like the bulk of action, like the bulk of different like physical stuff doing something. Anyway. But yeah, if you have an app like Blockos, you can actually see like the bulk of like space. It becomes like intuitive, and so then you can plan. Like I have to start cooking dinner at like 7:30. I have to da 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 da. It's like if I want my dishes to be done, because it's a physical space, I'm not like a consciousness with no physical shit attached to me. I have to actually do the dishes, because like basically it's like unless I'm like, to me everything is now and everything is without physicality, and so it's like I can't function because I'm like, the dishes have to get done because I had to do them. And if I want them to be done in such a way that when I wake up, it's a clean kitchen, I have to do them the day before. But the day before is a concept I don't understand, because I'm like, everything is now, all the time. And so in physicality, that's not how it works, because everything can't happen at once. You know, like Einstein has this quote, he was like, if there was no time, everything would be happening at once. And I'm like, that's how my mind nature is. I'm like, I don't understand. It's like, right, I'm in physical space now. Like, I have to respect the fact that here everything is super slow and clunky and, like, fragmented. It's weird. I'm like, why am I fragmented through, like, these things? Like why, you know, like, I have to, like, understand, like, an action starts here in order to get to the point there when it's complete. Like, dishes. But then, like, I want to be a singer, so I have to, like, start doing something here. So by the time I'm a singer, a bunch of other like bulky shit happen in space to do that. I can't just be that. I can't just suddenly become that. But that's what's normal to me in my consciousness. And that's why I'm like, I don't know where I'm from, but like as a consciousness, but like I'm not normal to the human planet, the human being way. Every one of all the people in the world who don't have this problem, who just like are like, yeah, because I was talking to AI about it, and I'm like, yeah, most people just like have a sense of like the like blocks of action they have to do to get somewhere, and that's why they naturally kind of like can plan time. And I'm like, right, I ain't like that. I was like, I'm just, you know, and like talking about it to AI really helped me realize like, oh, like I'm not like other people, because, you know, I'm only myself. I have no way to understand what other people's experience is, and so I just have this like hypothesis about myself now that I'm just like a consciousness who is not commonly on planet Earth, because that human being instinct or like skill is not normal to me at all. And so everything's just constantly like the forever moment, and it's like that's not how human being life works. It's just like crap. And so for someone like me, if you're like me, a way to manage that, especially in the middle of all this monoculture insanity, is to get an app like Blockos that can get you a time map, like a time space map, and you can actually then see like, oh shit, like I have to soak the lentils so that I can make my dinner. It'd be better for me to do it at this point instead of like, you know, at that point, because I'll be doing this other thing and it won't be comfortable because I'm like one body. I'm not like able to like be like in 10 different mental moments doing stuff. It's like linear. It's like one after the other. It's like 3D physicality crap. Things have to like it's just like having to slot in a bunch of discrete physical actions in order to get to an effect, which is so weird to me, okay? And so, and the last thing I'll say, because this is also helpful, it's also something that I came up with through my own thinking, so I'm really excited about it, to expand on this idea of like day-to-day awareness of your time, space, the bulk of space, the bulk of physicality that you have to manage. If you can create a graph for yourself of like, hold on, how do I say this? Okay, it comes back to the idea of like time is not a ray, time is a rectangle for human life. And basically what I think I'll just say is that like if you can just like manage some way to understand like you're bored and then you're going to die, and then you can actually like take that entire block and look at it now instead of living in the day looking outwards as if like everything's just the future. I'm like, but if you think about it, the days that are coming up are already pre-numbered. I'm just saying the calendar exists fucking 70 years down the line. Like you can go into your phone and just like jump to the year 20 whatever the fuck and be 70 years in the future, and you can look at a Wednesday in July and see which like date it is, and that's a day. Like, is time gonna stop? Like, the quality of human existence is having to achieve certain things within time to achieve success, while having all these resistant forces trying to make sure you don't do that. Isn't that like the most simple description of human existence that you've ever heard? So it's like you could just look, it's like your rectangle of time, right? Like now until like the time that, let's just say 100 years from now, you know, like you're going to be living in all of this time. You could just make a graph for yourself that just graphs all these years and be like, I'm trying to be alive. I'm trying to live my life. People talk about like 3-year plans, 5-year plans. It's like, that's cute, but it's like, you're going to be alive for a full lifetime. You're trying to like be successful. You want to be happy. You want to like achieve certain things. And the second I did this, I was like, damn. Do you know what that gives me? It gives me the understanding that like, yo, like I need to make a list of all the things that to me feel like if I did not become these things to a certain level during my lifetime, I would feel miserable in my soul. Like to me, like one of those things is singer. And I don't mean pop star, but I just mean that like I sang. You know? And the second I realized that, I was like, you can have all your doubts, you can have all of your trauma burden being like, I'm not able to do that right now because I can't even function in long enough to make friends or make enough money because I'm just so fucked up. It's like, that's great. But like at some point in this rectangle, you're going to have to like be a singer. Like, is that not true? And then it just gave this clarity, like, it doesn't matter how I feel. It's about like scheduling time to like activate like that like final vision. Does that make sense? It's like at some point I'm standing in a studio with like a mic and I'm recording a song, and I record enough songs that I feel happy that I fulfilled my singer like directive from my soul. So now I can die without feeling miserable that I failed my entire existence. And then you can just extrapolate, like, they call it teleologically, like, teleologically. Anyway, I'm just saying, like, you can go backwards, you can reverse engineer, you can be like, damn, like, at some point in my, like, actual, like, rectangle of life, I have to be a singer. I'm in a studio recording songs. I record a few songs. It's not going to be just one song. It doesn't have to be popular, but it has to make me feel that, like, this is awesome. And that some people heard it and I felt that I was a singer. Like, that's like the bare minimum. And then I can die feeling like I did it. It's not about competing with the Beyoncés and the Rihannas of the world. It's not even about, like, competing on, like, a lower level of, like, stars that are known. It's not about that. I'm like, it's not about that. It's about the fact that you're going to die miserable if you don't do it. It's not about Rihanna. It's about the fact that you're going to die miserable if you don't do it. I'm like, you're trying to prevent your death in your soul. You see how it shifts everything? Now everyone's kind of like put on the back burner, not in the sense of like, I hate you guys, but in the sense of like, hi, sorry, honey, I can't afford to pay attention to any of the nonsense coming out of your brains because I literally have to save myself. Because if I get to the end of my life and I have not achieved these things, I will feel that my soul is going to hell. Not because I'm going to an actual hell where I'm burning, but because I failed my lifetime because you bitches kept distracting me with all this shit that you kept fucking putting in my way, including having to make money in ways that are completely inefficient, including all the traumas, including all the dramas, including all the whatever the fuck. Does that make sense? It's like every single human being has that list of stuff that is their personal hell if they don't get to actually like completing it.
And so religion becomes irrelevant. I'm like, I can't think about religion. Because the thing is, if I don't sing, I will for sure be in hell in a spiritual, like, soul death way. Like, for sure that's going to be hell for me. All this fancy theological thinking, I'm like, I don't know anything about that. But I know for sure I'll be in hell being like, damn, like I didn't get to that shit that I needed to be. No fucking way. And so you have your rectangle of life. And I'm getting to the point that, like, will make me feel super fucking, like, I did it. Like, now we can cook. You feel me? Your rectangle of life as a human being, whatever the hell you have to be, and, like, there's probably, like, a few things. Like, I have to, like, I'm not going to say my things because I don't want to make it easier for the opposing forces. I would try to destroy everything that I want. You know what I'm fucking saying? I'm just letting you know. But there's like other things, right? That I'm like, damn, like if these things don't happen, I'm gonna feel like I'm in hell on a spiritual level. I'm gonna die in total misery. Like it's worse than depression or fear or worry or shame. It's going to be like, because it's a finality of like my lifetime did not happen because everything in life kept distracting me with everything that this world has, and I didn't achieve it. Oh my god. That's the only thing you have to like really like be afraid of truly actually like that's the only like really real thing. So if you're rectangle and the next thing on your list, like thing number 2, you're like, okay, what is that? I have to do that. Like for me, for example, I'll say one more thing. Like I want to understand math to a certain level. Like if I die in this lifetime without ever understanding calculus, I'm going to feel like they screwed me over. And I look, it sounds funny maybe, but I'm a mathematician, like curiosity. Like I want like I need to understand like higher math and higher physics. I don't need to have a PhD in it. I don't have to go to the best school and get a degree in it. I don't need to be a professional scientist or mathematician. But like the bare minimum for my death moment, for my end point, as I call it in my graph, is that I understand like a certain higher level of mathematics and physics and maybe science in general. Because that's just like who I am. You feel me? And so it's like, oh shit, like here's my rectangle of life. I have to literally, while having trauma burden, while having money issues, while having all this crap, blah, 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 I have to like slide in blocks of time when I focus on learning math and science. Not because I'm trying to get a career, or definitely not because I want people to think I am like of a higher status. Like someone recently said this to me like a few weeks ago, and I was like, do people really still think like that? And then I realized like, no, like I'm different. Most people fucking think like that, specifically in this society. I'm like, I don't understand. Like this is so stupid that I can't even whatever. Once again, that's a drama of the world that is irrelevant. Even me mentioning it right now was a waste of my time. And so a rectangle of your life and the sliding in. Here's the big fat moment that I want to like say, and then I'll be done. Like complete in the communication of what I'm saying. Since you can actually see the decades of life during which your life would be happening if everything goes in such a way that you are alive for decades and decades, right? I'm just saying that might be a way that your life happens because a lot of people have lived that way. They've lived for decades and decades. Just in case that actually is your life, you can see the full rectangle of like 100 years. You feel me? You can have a list that you realize, because you think about like if I were to die, like and these things didn't happen for me as far as like me like doing those things or achieving those levels of understanding or experiencing certain things, I'll feel like I'm like my soul is like in hell because it didn't happen. Like that whatever that list is, you know? Oh, and now that becomes the guiding star of your life. That list. And then you're like, okay. And this is like, this moment was so crazy fun for me. It was like, I literally like, sometimes like, Ayn Rand is the one who like told me that I have a brain that can think and therefore like saved me from depression. Like truly, like Ayn Rand like gave me freedom from depression. Like I had a depression and then I read Ayn Rand and her thoughts. And then I was like, 80% of my depression is gone. And so like I've discovered this joy called the joy of arriving at realization through your own original thinking. not meditation, not visualization, thinking, like logical thinking. There's a joy, a physical joy that your body feels. I'm not talking about like, I'm talking about like a physical joy. You know, like when you dance, you have a physical joy. Logical thinking to get to like knowledge gives physical joy. I just want you to know about that. And so I was doing this process of thinking, and I got to this physical joy part, and I just felt it in my spine right now, where it's like you understand that every day you have blocks of time of in which you can focus, and you can genuinely like assign blocks of time. For me, 10 minutes works really well. You can assign blocks of time in 10-minute chunks to the list of the things that you have to experience or become or do. You can assign, like, here's you right now, like, here's your rectangle, here's you right now, here's like here's you right now, and here's the day and all the blocks that make up that particular day. Here's your list of like lifetime stuff that is necessary, or else you're gonna feel like you're dying in your soul. All of those things, you can actually think about them and be like, well, that's the final result is like, I'm a singer, I know math and science to a certain level. In this moment right now, you have 10 minutes to like give to activating the singer. It's like, what does that mean? It's like, it just means like, I don't know, just sit down and just, first thing is like, you take those 10 minutes, you allot them, and then you're like, okay, I have 10 minutes. What am I doing in those 10 minutes? Singer. Because if I don't achieve this, I know that I'll die in my soul when I die. Because I'm gonna fucking die, apparently, because that's how physical life works for human beings, whatever. And so, then you take like a minute or two in the first 10 minutes of your thinking to just like focus on it. Just genuinely like giving like mental real estate, giving attention real estate to focusing on the idea. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I know that's totally normal because you don't know because you haven't yet developed this at all. And so then you're like, okay, 1 to 2 minutes, you genuinely set a timer and you're like, singer, like, you know, well, I mean, like, what do I like? Like, should I make music like that I like? Should I kind of like make music that's different? Like, what kind of music would I, you see? And all of a sudden you're thinking about your singer self. And then like with the math and science, it's like, well, I don't know, how do I like, should I start like applying to schools? I'm like, but it's not about schools, it's about getting to a level of math and science. So you could just study anything right now for 10 minutes. And the whole point then, I realized, is the accumulation of those 10-minute blocks, or however long you make your blocks, your accumulation of those 10-minute blocks over time in your rectangle. And over time, it's like you take enough of those bricks of time, you feel me? And at some point, you're going to get somewhere. But the whole point of your success is like realizing the focus that you need to allot to these things on your list of, if I don't do this, I go to spiritual hell in my soul because I didn't become these things. That's a theology you can get behind every single time, universally true for every single human being. Okay? And so like, then your time rectangle, you have your graph of like the years that are going to happen, because they're going to happen regardless. Even if humanity were to blow up because of some cataclysm and there were no more humans left on the planet, the fucking stars, not the stars, the sun and like the planets would still move in the same way if they're still standing. And so you could still say like, oh, there are no humans here, July 22nd is still happening, and 23rd and 24th. You see how time is just gonna keep going? Like, it's still stable. You feel me? And so you look at you look at the days that are coming up in this time rectangle in which you are supposed to still be, like, if things go a certain way and you're alive, you know, during those years. And then you can literally be like, oh damn, like, I'm getting to the point. Here's the point. Here's a mega point. You can get to this place where you see each day as having an actual allotment of time blocks. And then you can get to this point where you're like, 8 hours for sleep. I wake up